Guys, check this out, man. This beautiful queso dip. This is chili con queso. If you want a wonderful cheese dip, this is the recipe to go with. Give it a try. Oh man, that's good. Hey guys, welcome back to Texas Cooking Today. On this episode, we're going to be making a wonderful, fabulous dip. It's called chili con queso. Now, this is something I've enjoyed since I was a little boy. I grew up on this stuff. And I'll tell you what, it was popular in Texas back when, and it's popular today all over the Southwest, and it's gaining popularity throughout the United States. But I wanted everybody to know about this. It's delicious, and it's so very, very simple to make. This is something where you can impress your friends, your family, everybody, and it's not going to knock you out to make it. So I'll tell you what, come on over. Let's go over these fantastic ingredients, and let's make the best tasting chili con queso that you will ever put in your mouth. Come on over. Guys, we have fabulous ingredients here. Let me tell you what all we got. First of all, this right here is 1 can of Rotel tomatoes. Now, normally I don't like touting brands, but this is just one of those dishes where you need to get the right thing if you want to get the right flavor. Rotel tomatoes are the way to go. What that is just a brand of tomatoes that have chilies in it, and it's a very good mixture. It's a perfect blend, and this is the original. Also, paprika and cayenne. Now I'm going to be using about a teaspoon and a half of the paprika and about a quarter of a teaspoon of cayenne. Also, if you'll notice, I have an onion here. Now normally I grew up making this with a white onion, but this time I thought, what the heck, let's use a red. Let's have some fun, get some color in the dish. Now, yeah, you might be saying, color, huh? This is just going to add to it, and we're going to perk it up a little bit. We're going to use a little bit of garlic, 1 clove of garlic, medium onion diced, 1 can Rotel, and of course you know the ingredients on these two. This is 1 pound of processed cheese, folks. Now, you don't have to get any certain brand on this, just any processed cheese will work. If you want to make this with a full 2-pound block, just double the other ingredients here. Very easy to do. Now, the first thing I have to do is chop up this onion so that we can get it in a pan and get it sweating. Don't worry guys, this is not tough to make. Even though you might see more ingredients than you expected, this is really simple. Now it's time for us to get into cutting up our onion and the garlic. The first thing I'm going to do is just remove some of the paper from the garlic, and the same thing on that onion. And I'm going to do this, I pulled off that scab first. I'm going to give this a bit of a twist. And what that will do, if I don't twist so hard that I break the center of it, it just loosens the paper, and that paper will come right off. Wasn't that simple? The onion, to remove the paper on it, I need to process the ends off. The first thing that you might want to know about onions is, if you don't want to cry when cutting them, leave the root end intact, okay? Don't cut that root off. Watch what I do here. I'm going to take my knife and gently slide it up the side, just cutting through that outer layer. I'm going to peel it back. That way I get that dry part out of there. If you notice, part of it was hydrated, good and fresh, but not all. So let's get rid of that thin layer. Never cooks up very well. There we have it. Now I have 1 onion that's had the skin removed, and it's not really weeping too much. Weeping is when you get a lot of juice coming out of the onion, and that's really what's going to make you tear up. And that's because that juice contains a sulfuric fume that's going to react with your eyes, with your olfactory senses, and it's not too pleasant. Let me show you a way of dicing this and making perfect dice at the same time, not being too difficult. First thing I need to do is to reduce this so it's not rolling around and difficult to work with. When you're holding your knife, pinch the blade right in front of the handle. This gives you better control. It keeps it from rolling out of control on you. Always keep your fingers on your other hand turned under. If you have your fingertips out like this when you're cutting, you can cut those fingertips, okay? Don't have them out. Take them and turn them under like that. Isn't that cool? This is the crab technique, and it allows the knife to ride on the side of your finger without hurting you, okay? Now let's take this onion. See how my fingers are turned under? I'm going to slice right through that guy right there. I'm going to turn it around and do the same thing on the other side. And what I've done is just made my onion down into thirds. Isn't that cool? Now what I want to do to get perfect dice, I'm going to run my knife right up the side. You want to do this with a good sharp knife. And I don't have to go all the way through. I'm leaving the root intact. Again, we're not releasing too many juices this way. There we have it. Beautiful, simple dice. Not very hard, was that? Let's do it again. Put my fingers right on top, put the knife to the side, and you want to make sure your knife is level, not tilted this way, or up or down, but just kind of good and level, and very gently make slices straight through. Wasn't that easy? Now, to make a perfect dice, let me show you something. I'm going to make lengthwise cuts. And this is going to be even more perfect than those. Watch what I give you here. So this way you get an absolutely perfect dice. If you'll notice, those all come out in even size. It's a wonderful way to do it. Onion. So there you have onion slicing, or onion dicing actually, 101. Now when I'm putting my finger on the other side, I'm not touching the edge of my blade. I'm not touching that sharp portion. I'm simply holding the food in place as I pull my knife back, always keeping the edge in contact with the cutting board as I do that. See how that worked? One little piece is trying to escape. There we go, one medium onion. Our onion needs to get put in a pot to start cooking. Let's go ahead and get it started. I don't need my garlic just yet. I won't put the garlic in until I put the Rotel tomatoes in there. Look how much onion we had left over. Very tiny amount. Even that could be chopped up if I wanted to. I'm not losing sleep over it. So let's turn our attention right over here. First thing I'm going to do is put a little olive oil down in this. And I'm going to want about 1 to 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Plenty to cook these in. There we go. And don't worry, that oil will be absorbed by the cheese and it's going to come out wonderful. I'm going to put this over a medium-high flame to bring it up in temperature, and then I'm going to reduce it to medium, and I'm going to cover it, and we're going to do what's called sweating the onions. Now, sweating the onion is a really important part on this. You don't want a crunchy piece of onion down in the cheese dip, okay? You want it to be soft and tender. You also want the flavor released, so this is the way we do it. We do it by sweating the onion. Now, sweating means cooking it covered with a little bit of steam in there. I put the oil in the bottom. It makes this wonderful steamy atmosphere. And I'm going to cook it until these become translucent. Now, I don't want them fully translucent, just lightly, to when they're beginning to turn translucent and they're getting soft. That's when I'll put in my garlic and the tomatoes, and also the spices, and we'll get those cooking up and simmering. So let's just bring this up in temperature. If you would do the same thing. Want my onions fully covered. And don't worry about those onions that are sticking together. They're going to cook apart here shortly, okay? Let's go ahead and process our garlic so it'll be ready to go here in just a moment. Now, if you've noticed, I changed the knives. I changed to one that has a little bit shorter edge. And when you do a mincing like the technique I'm going to show you here, you need a knife that is offset from the handle, meaning this part right here, where the edge comes down from the handle. This allows a rocking motion like this. And that's what we're going to do, is I'm going to do an up and down rocking motion while holding my fingers on top here to control the blade, and I'm going to mince this all up. Now I start by crushing it. Take my knife, thumb turned under, fingers on the back edge or the back dull portion of that knife, never on the edge itself. On the handle, just kind of pull back a little bit, keep a firm grip, and all you're going to do is just rock it up and down. Isn't that simple? Let's knock some of that off. Now, if you're knocking something off of your blade, push away from that sharp edge like this, never lengthwise with it. Sometimes you'll see me doing it lengthwise in some of my videos, but my finger is curved up and never in contact with that edge. Occasionally knock down those pieces off of your knife. That way they get down in there and get sharp or get chopped up. And I'll do this once more, just to knock it down a little bit finer. Isn't that simple? So you don't need any special gadgets. Now I'm going to stir my onions. They're coming up nice. You can hear that sizzling. There we go. Reducing the temperature to medium, and I'm going to put a lid on it. Now they will sweat. Let's finish that last mince on the garlic. See, that's how you handle things in the kitchen, folks. There we have it. I think I got a little bit left from my onion sitting right there. It's gone. Okay. The garlic is ready to go in that pan just as soon as the Rotel tomatoes go in. Occasionally, you're going to want to stir those onions. Take a look at them and note whether they're getting translucent or not. If you'll notice, they're still very white, very opaque. They're not where we want them. Give it time. My onions are sweating. The other ingredients are almost ready. The cheese simply needs to be cut up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start by quartering the whole block. There we go, like that. And one more. There we go. Now I can simply cut some little squares. Isn't that simple? So just go through your whole block of cheese that same exact way. Isn't that neat? Now this question comes up, is processed cheese really cheese? Well, yes and no. Is it self-matured cheese on its own? No. Is it cheese in the sense that it is the curds of cow milk that have been separated from their whey, aged, and then turned into something that's palatable and nutritious? Yes, it is. What they've done here is they've simply taken a cheese and they've combined it with a few other ingredients, some oils, and expanded on it a little bit and produced this wonderful processed taste. It's really good, folks. If you have never had it, you should give it a try. Our onions have had a good time to sweat down here. Let me show you these now. See how they're a little more translucent looking? They're much lighter. That's what I'm looking for. They're also more tender. So now I want to go ahead and I want to get my garlic placed right down in there. And the tomatoes with all their juice. Now remember, we had spices that we wanted to put in this. I'm going to put about 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne. It does not take a lot when it comes to cayenne. Right down in there. And I want about 1.5 teaspoons of paprika. Right there's about 1 teaspoon and a half. There we go. And trust me, those measurements are real. I'm not just guessing. I learned to do that a long time ago, early in my cooking career. Now I just want to get all that combined. The reason I put that water in there is to give it something to steam off. I want this to cook together for a little bit and for those flavors to marry and work together. Also to cook my spices. Never go raw spice in a dip or a cheese sauce or anything like that. Raw spice can really mess it up. Always cook your spices in. At this point, this all becomes pretty simple. I'm going to let this simmer for about 10 to 15 minutes. Just let it thicken up slightly, not much. Then we're going to start putting in our cheese. So bring yours to a simmer and let it cook for 10 to 15 minutes. This has been simmering now for about 7, maybe 8 minutes. See how we're going on this? Still a good amount of liquid in it, and that's fine. Just keep simmering. What we're doing, as I mentioned before, we're developing flavor. That's my timer telling me I've got 5 minutes left on that simmer. So occasionally stir yours, check it, and just let it simmer on a medium to medium-low flame. That's all you're going to need. And pretty soon here we'll start putting in that cheese, melt it in, and then it's ready. I just turned my alarm off. My ingredients have now cooked for 15 minutes. Their flavors have married. The garlic has dispersed its flavor and is tender. All I have to do now is just get that cheese down in there. That's the reason I cut it up, was so it'll melt a little quicker. Now let's go ahead and start to stir that. I'm just leaving my flame where it's at, right at about a medium-low. And it's going to gently melt all of that together. As soon as it's fully melted together, hey, your dip is ready at that point, okay? Whoops. I guarantee you this is one of those flavors your friends, once they try it, they're going to want you to make it a lot. There we have it. can see those little blocks of cheese are melting in. This is where you just simply be patient with it. Now at this point, you do not want to walk away from this. Attend it, okay? Don't let it sit for more than 1 minute without stirring it. Otherwise, it's going to burn on the bottom of the pan and you're going to end up with a mess. So make sure that you attend it, that you stay right there, and you're prepared to take care of it as it goes. We'll break out a little different tool here. This is really good when it comes to mixing ingredients together. Also scraping down spoons, pans, whatever. Getting off whatever's left. And I like this because I can run it around the sides of that pan and get them good and clean. I can run it around the base of the pan to make sure there's nothing sticking in that lower corner. A whisk will do much the same thing. And this way you get to kind of learn different kitchen implements and how well they can work for you in different ways. Look at that. Now there's still some small lumps in it, so just a matter of being patient at this point. Don't rush it. The minute you take it off the heat, that melting stops, guys. We want it fully melted. You'll also need a bowl to put it in. So you might get that ready. And this will perk up any party. So the next time there's a ball game going on, next time you're celebrating New Year's Eve, next time you've got a celebration of any kind, hey, go ahead, break it out. It's going to be easy to make, right? No one's going to be upset that you're the guy that brought queso dip, okay? That's a fact. Well, there we have it, guys. Okay, I want to go ahead and put this in my bowl here. I'm just going to gently pour it in. And the part of this that's still left in my pan, just let it sit in there. Cover it. That'll keep it from skinning over as easy. There's your queso dip, folks. Well, that's not so hard, is it, folks? Look at this. It's delicious. Delicious chili con queso dip. Man, I'm telling you what, when it comes to something really good for the ball game, that's perfect. Nobody's going to mind you showing up with this dish at the game, okay? Nobody's going to mind you showing up at any occasion with this dip, because it's delicious. Everybody loves it all of the time. It's also good on your tacos, salads, burritos, you name it, you can put it on there and it's delicious. Guys, thank you very much for watching this episode of Texas Cooking Today. Thank you very much to my subscribers. If you haven't subscribed, guys, why not? I'm coming out with great recipes all of the time. There's a lot more to come. So please subscribe and please share these videos with your friends and other people that you know. I appreciate it. You folks have a good day. Hey guys, thank you for watching Texas Cooking Today. Do appreciate it. If you would, please subscribe. If you like this, just click like down there, and if you would, I would really appreciate it if you add me to your favorites. Thank you.